The fact-checkers are deciding to, well, screw themselves over, which is they've all been publishing fake news, it turns out, endlessly. And I got caught. So I thought we'd enjoy, well, pointing and laughing at them, if nothing else. So we'll start off just by saying that we have job opportunities here. So if you go to the careers page on lotuseaters.com, you should be able to find right at the bottom. You'll be able to find that we have video content presenters and a job for a video editor as well. So if you'd like to come and work, go and give those a read. And if you can fit the criteria, do apply.
How much money?
That's negotiable, of course.
Well, what do you mean? What would you offer?
I don't know. Carl runs the business, so.
Carl, how much money?
Anyway, let's get into the content instead. So, if you go to the next one here, we can see this is the big news that I saw, which is USA Today removes 23 articles after reporter fabricated sources. She just made up stuff.
23 articles, and this is a big deal for a journalist. Like Boris Johnson got fired from the Telegraph, was it, for making up a quote, I believe.
I think that's correct.
So this is a big deal.
I mean, you would have thought. And it gets worse because, of course, USA Today are fact-checkers on Facebook and ban people for lying, whereas themselves, no problems. Don't worry about it.
Oh, my God. Absolute clown world.
The journalist who is said to have fabricated the sources was identified as Gabriela Miranda. According to her bio on the website, Miranda was assigned to cover trending news nationwide while at USA Today. The Post has reached out to USA Today, its parent company, Granite, as well as Miranda, seeking comment. Miranda has deleted her LinkedIn account in response. Of course, because she's a very innocent woman, which is why also USA Today fired her for just making up news, apparently, all day. If we go to the next one here, we have a big example of one of the fake news stories. So, yes, I love this, just write the news you wish to see in the world. Quote from her.
My God.
She did. This is my land, I stay. These Ukrainian women are among thousands choosing to fight, not flee. This is all made up. This is just a made-up story. This is a real thing as well. You can see the individual saying this is satire Twitter. This story isn't. This is a real headline. Because if you go to the next one, kudos to them for this. USA Today did actually just put out an article listing all the fake headlines, being like, yeah, all of these are just made up. We hired a woman who's made up news. And we didn't check.
Yeah.
We didn't fact-check ourselves.
I wonder how much this happens in the media.
I mean, you think about it, because who's going to fact-check the fact-checkers? And apparently no one, until someone called up and said, yeah, that's just not true. And then they did an investigation and found out actually all of her work was just untrue. She was just making stuff up, presumably. So we have in here another headline being, Russian troops halt attack of nuclear power plant but remain in control. How dangerous could this be? In which she just made up all the sources in that article, apparently. Wonderful, wonderful work.
Jeez.
Do you feel good about getting banned from Facebook for 3 days or 7 days or forever?
I was banned for a month once, but I hardly use Facebook now because I get banned.
Well, this is why. Because people who lie for a profession, I mean, provably, are too busy saying that, well, what you've said is wrong, Leo, so you need to go. Not them, though. Campus ministry at Virginia Tech had its pride flag stolen and replaced with the Confederate flag. Fake news. It's not true. It's made up, it seems.
I mean, that's like I can understand somebody like faking quotes, because that'd be very hard to, a Ukrainian woman says this. Kind of hard to check. You can't like check every Ukrainian woman. But a pride flag stolen from Virginia Tech and replaced with a Confederate flag, that'd be an easy thing to verify.
You would have thought, but apparently it's just made up stuff. I mean, I love the idea. What's the conversation in the office? It's like, I've made this article about the Ukrainian women that say, oh, that's wonderful. Can I interview them for a second? No. Could I talk? What's their names? Can I look them up and find out? Because I mean, this is great. I've got a story on Ukraine as well. We could work together. No, they're busy fighting, as they are. Mr. Ivana, suck me off. I don't know. She's very busy. She also published an article: "Anti-vaxxer pushes urine therapy as COVID antidote without scientific evidence." That article was also without evidence because it was just made up.
I think I read that article.
And there you have it. Just not true. They're all deleted now as well.
My world is crumbling down around me.
Everything you read from USA Today apparently just made up whilst they stare at the ceiling.
This is like when I found out from that Amber Heard interview that Johnny Depp didn't actually have real scissors for fingers.
Did he not?
No.
I'm shocked.
He was acting. He was pretending he was a person in a film.
I still don't know what the hell is wrong with her. Like, why does she still have a public profile? I mean, you would have thought she would delete everything and just disappear. If you were her.
No, she's now an activist. She's got a lucrative career ahead for women.
Abusing women. Sorry, abusing men.
Yeah, like for women, like a lot of women agree. And a lot of men.
A women's right to beat.
A lot of simps, a lot of men agree with her.
Oh,
and think she was right and she was cheated and robbed.
But there we have it. There's all the headlines. You can go check it yourself. A lot of them are very boring, just like, oh, here's 5 things you didn't know about such and such, or some other such crap. But the interesting ones there being obviously politically motivated that she then just made up, presumably.
Yeah.
If we go to the next one, we can also see the Facebook link here. I got this on, which is Facebook celebrating the fact that they were hiring USA Today. Honest and factual people as they are. We recently welcomed the agency French Press and Reuters to our US program, and today we're announcing USA Today as our latest, newest fact-checking partner, providing the nation with factual information is core to what our journalists do every day at Granite and USA Today. Therefore, it wasn't a question of if we would join Facebook fact-checking program, but when, says one of the people from Granite who own USA Today.
Gannett.
Gannett? Is it Gannett? Oh, there you are, yeah. But if we go to the next link here, you can also see the fact that there's just the fact checks they have done over the years are also just not true. Like, just made up. I mean, I don't know why people didn't notice this sooner in the fact that all their news seems to be fake. You can see here from USA Today saying the claim, several Democratic politicians are urging social distancing and issuing stay-at-home advisories while hosting or attending gatherings themselves. Our rating missing context. What missing context?
Yeah, what is the...
Like, this happened in living memory.
And this is the thing, you can say missing context about anything. Absolutely anything. It's a kind of meaningless... I mean, what context would make that okay?
It's like, man murders his mother. Yeah, but you forgot to say that he, celebrated a birthday last year. So missing the context, really. It's just a ridiculous statement. But this was obviously defensive action for Democrats, politicians who had... violated their own laws.
Yeah.
If you go to the next one here, this is the article itself, which is one of the few that is still up, even though this is just obviously fake as well. But, it's not from her, so they haven't deleted it yet. And if we get to the next one here, this is something I want to tie it in with, which is there was a report done on news, just how interested people are in news in general, which, interesting question. If you scroll down on here, eventually there's a graph that shows you interest. And in 2015, in the UK, they say that 70% of the public were interested in what the news had to say.
Right.
So 70% of the public were like, yeah, okay, watch the news.
Yeah.
And in 2022, 43% of the public.
Whoa.
I mean, there's a huge drop. I mean, I don't believe that's the right graph, but it's in here somewhere. But it's those are the statistics correctly, which is the fact that also the biggest drop-off is between 2019 and 2020.
Right.
Which makes sense. I mean, COVID, BLM, people going to hell with this.
Yeah.
Like, these people can't be trusted to even just get the basic facts right.
Yeah.
I mean, the mostly peaceful protests.
And we covered a story on GB News about people are avoiding the news. So left-wing people, and the amount of people avoiding the news has doubled because, for 2 different reasons. So left-wing people avoid the news because they think it'll cause conflict, they'll get into arguments because they're all pussies. And right-wing people avoid the news because they think it's fake. And they're right.
I mean, just demonstrably.
Yeah.
I mean, I will never get over mostly peaceful protests.
Yeah, stuff like that. It's like the
Fires
agenda
in the background.
The agenda is so obvious, and even with the storming of the Capitol building, people are like acting like this was like Pearl Harbor.
It was the second Holocaust.
It was like grannies waving flags and stuff. It wasn't,
I did a little compilation at the time. I went and got back all the audio clips from mostly peaceful protest. It's peaceful, every peaceful. Took all those and put them over the footage of going into the Capitol.
Yeah.
And it was just like, could you imagine the media describing it that way?
Yeah,
And it's just like, no, of course not.
Yeah.
It was like, they would never try to give them any kind of leniency.
Yeah.
If you scroll up a little bit here, you can see this is a common pattern throughout the entire world. So you've got the UK, US, and then you have Spain, Brazil, Argentina. This is just some large story for the University of Oxford looking at this, and seems to be a constant theme throughout the world, which is everyone's sick of the news, specifically the smear merchants, let's be honest. And this is why, if you go to the next link here, this is something I mentioned yesterday. I don't know if you know about this website. This is My 90s STV, and as you can see here, you can just watch TV from like the olden times, before the internet. And
I couldn't work out what that ticking noise was.
It's John just putting it on, which is I don't know if we're going to watch much because much of the channels are just adverts or like your local soccer team in the news there. But if you go and do this in your own time, just go and find out the website and then check out the news and say like even 2001 and look at the 9/11 coverage, and it's just factual. Like 2003, it's fine. 2009, it's fine.
There are
the
still
90s, it's fine.
There are still some news sources that are relatively unbiased. Like The Economist is very good.
I don't read them often enough to say.
Right.
But,
Well, I've subscribed to The Economist because I'm really brainy.
but I just find the disparity weird to go and look back. And I really, you should afterwards as well, just for no other reason than to go and see back the olden times.
Yeah.
Like when the news would literally tell you the news. And that was it. I mean, I
Right.
never understood that phrase until I went back and looked at this. And it's
Yeah.
totally true.
And now it's become this like emotional journey.
Yeah.
They've tried to make it into, because people are getting more engaged in stuff that engages them emotionally and watch it for longer.
But also there's the open lies from the organizations. I mean, I was reading Douglas Murray's new book, and there's a great example in there in which you think back to how the media would describe, say, Donald Trump's speech outside of the Mount Rushmore monument. You may remember that one.
Yeah.
When it was all the statues were being torn down. And Donald Trump gave a pretty normal speech about American values.
Yeah.
You think, president giving speech outside Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
No. MSNBC went with Trump gives speech in front of 2 slave owners. I mean, there's just no attempt to even tell you what happened. I mean, two Libyan lads
serious?
who have got slaves behind them, presumably, and Trump's outside giving a speech about how he's going to stop it. I don't know.
Right.
I mean, it's just not information.
Yeah.
I mean, it's anti-information, if anything.
Yeah.
That was the example. It's in Douglas's new book, The War on the West. So go and check that out if you want to.
amazing.
But otherwise, there's also just the obvious point with the media. And the best example of this is a clip I found, but I couldn't find it. So I've just found the headlines instead, which is about what is allowed to be said and what is not allowed to be said, of course. And if you load up this one here, this is just a series of headlines that I've put together just to make this point as quickly as possible, which is, as you can see, we got to take those mother effers out. Rutgers professor calls white people villains. Fantastic. Okay, one professor.
But I should imagine a lot of white people are making the processed food that's keeping her at 32 stone.
I mean, you think. They're probably growing it as well as producing it and everything else, but she's a professor, so what does she care?
She's a professor.
Yes. That's the point. I mean, this is someone at the height of civilization, apparently. One of our temples of knowledge. No, of course not. There is no knowledge to be found here. She said that white people are historically committed to being villains, and her unfiltered solution to addressing the white supremacy would be to take them out. Fantastic. Wonderful lady. One example. Yeah.
Jeez.
Crazy lady. If you go to the next one, of course, we have a professor behind a white genocide tweet has university support. For the genocide, presumably. I don't know if they're giving him guns. I don't know. It says here, a Drexel University professor who tweeted that he wanted white genocide for Christmas has the support of the university. Oh, fantastic. Good that he's got that support. Otherwise, what else would be going on? If you go to the next one, we have a Berkeley professor who says he wants to abolish whiteness, is to abolish white people. It's more genocidal rhetoric from our temples of intelligence there.
Yeah, that's not very nice.
It's the kind of place you send your kids.
What have I done to him?
But again, this is all fine. They get support from the universities. The media are like, oh, come on, he's talking academic literature.
So
No.
overt racism and calls for genocide are fine with our educational establishments.
Yeah, and I've said before, I don't know if I've told you, there's actually a Google plugin you can get that replaces white with Jewish and whiteness with, Jewry. And then when you redo the headlines, it's like reading Nazi Germany's, Daily Stormer. And it's just like Jewry rules the world. Why must rid the world of Jewry? I mean, redo that one. To abolish.
That'll get clipped out and used against you.
But that's the thing. That's what the leftists literally say, except they replaced the J word with the white word instead.
Right, yeah.
There we go. Can't be clipped now. Which is, read that in your own time, just replace the words. And that's neo-Nazi rhetoric, for sure.
Although it's also leftist rhetoric, because they tend to be very anti-Semitic.
Same thing. If you go to the next one, we also have, again, another one. Just college professor says white people should commit suicide to rid the world of racism.
As an ethical act.
Yeah. This is a chap telling you that kill yourself. This is a professor. All of them professors.
And they're
in
the
these
good
temples
guys.
of knowledge.
And they're professor. Like, who on earth?
There you go. The next one, we have the professor, the Cambridge academic who came up with the White Lives Don't Matter as White Lives tweet. She was supported by the university and promoted to become a professor because of that. Because she said white lives don't matter, have a promotion. I mean, you must remember this. I mean, that's the thing. Everyone was shocked in the UK at this, but
Yeah.
it wasn't new. This is endless.
And they defended the rights of the university defended the rights of the academic to express lawful opinions, but that doesn't sound like a lawful opinion in terms of hate speech. I mean,
British
except
hate
that-
speech laws are tough. And
Yeah.
she put it online as well,
Yeah.
which means it's a violation of Section 127 of the Communications Act.
Yeah.
Grossly offensive. Police did nothing.
Right.
because they don't want to enforce the law.
Like they did nothing when there were those protests outside the cinemas.
They're just not interested in enforcing the law when it goes a certain way because they're not police. They're political activists, frankly, for political actors. If you go to the next one here, again, just another one. Racist Iowa State University professor says she tries to limit the interactions with white people as much as possible. Well, of course you do. I mean, what else would you do? And that's the thing. This goes on forever. I mean, you could Google in your own time. I'd love to try and get that clip if someone has it, of just a guy reading these headlines. It goes on for like 2 minutes of him just reading headlines of Professor wants to kill all white people. Professor has university support after saying all white people should be killed.
Yeah.
I was like, right, there you have it. I mean, that's the world of the media of just, well, this is a nice chap who's come up with a nice, honourable opinion. Whereas reverse it, put it in any other language, that's an insta-ban. I mean, that is nothing but an insta-ban and a prison sentence if you live in the UK. And there we have it. That's the fact checkers, well, getting caught and getting fact checked themselves, which is literal fake news smear merchants are the ones banning you from Facebook.
Thanks for watching this segment from the podcast The Lotus Eaters. If you enjoyed that and would like to find more, you can subscribe and check out our premium content at lotuseaters.com. For instance, there's been a recent Contemplations, the newest one, What Makes Good Art Part 2 between Josh and John. If you're interested in following Josh on social media, you can find him on Getter at Josh_firm. Thank you and goodbye.